cup of tea, a bookshop, and the happiest time of year. Hi, welcome to the Book Corner with me, Mish Atagana. Let's discover new worlds together. Merry Christmas from the Book Corner, or should I say, welcome to my Christmas corner. It's very festive in the studio today because obviously Christmas is a few days away. So early Merry Christmas or Merry almost Christmas from the Book Corner. And for my Christmas episode, I was so specific about the books I want to talk about. Because when I think about Christmas, I always think about being cozy and being happy, drinking tea, reading all my favorite books. So I'm going to talk about books that are literally about all those things. And those books, I'm trying to make sure I don't hit the mic. There are 4 books in the series. The first book is somewhere in my library, but I couldn't find it before I came to record, so apologies. But the first book is called You Can't Spell Treason Without T. And this is like the series is called Teas and Tomes, or the Tomes and Tea. The series is called by Rebecca Thorne. There are 4 books in it. It's a quartet. So, like I said, the first book is called You Can't Spell Tea Without Treason, or You Can't Spell Treason Without Tea. The second book is A Pirate's Life for Tea. The third book is called The Alchemy and a Cup of Tea. And sorry, this is the 4th book. I apologize. The third book is called See You at the Altar, and the last book is called Alchemy and a Cup of Tea. Now, I got into these books, and these are Tor, Bramble, Pan Macmillan, that whole family publishes these books. I started reading this book. I think I read the first one in 2024, maybe. Yeah, I want to say I read the first one in 2024. And then my first read, or my second read of 2025, was A Pirate's Life for Tea. And then I read See You at the Altar and Alchemy and a Cup of Tea, literally maybe a couple weeks ago. So I'm so happy that I finished the quartet in time for Christmas. If you're looking for a last minute Christmas present for someone, buy them these books. They are so amazing. But before I get into that, this is my penultimate episode of the year, which means that the competition is going to close soon. So if you want to win that hamper of books courtesy of Pan Macmillan, or fantasy book courtesy of Pan Macmillan, you have to enter, because once I log off, I'm not paying attention to who's entering late. So enter. Right. So shall we get into the books that I'm very, very obsessed with? 100%. Let's get into the books I'm obsessed with. So these books are about these 2 characters. One of them is a Queen's Guard, and the other is called the Mage of Ages. She's the most powerful mage in all the land, and they're both in love, and they want to run away. And their whole dream is to run away to go start a bookshop that serves tea. Which I feel like this is my life. Like I feel they're living my life. Like I wanna run away with someone to go start a bookshop and serve tea. I mean, I don't even have to do it with someone. It could just be me. I want to live in a bookshop, and I want to serve tea. Do I want to serve tea, or do I just want tea for myself? Either way, I want a bookshop. All right. So this is the coziest of fantasies. If cozy fantasy had a picture, it would be these books and Legends and Latte. And you guys know how I feel about Legends and Latte. So we start with these 2 characters. They are trying to live their life. They're trying to be, the people they want to be in life. They want to love freely. They want to enjoy life together. But the world that they live in just won't let them do it. So the Queen's Guard can't leave her job because she's a Queen's Guard, and it's kind of like a lifetime commitment. And the Age of Mages is in charge of magic in all the realms, and she also is struggling to be away from kind of the magicery, which is where all the mages go to learn and all of that. And they find this town called Tawny. And the way Tawny is described is like this little village that's nestled between this huge mountain ranges with dragons on the one side, and it snows and the winters are harsh, but it sounds like a Christmas card. This town actually sounds like a Christmas card. And one of the moments, like, I think I knew this book was going to be my Christmas episode, was I was reading it, and I remember thinking they should turn this into a Hallmark movie, but like a good one, like those Christmas time movies that you watch on Hallmark, which I've started watching them from November 1st. Please do not judge. And I really felt like this, I would love this to be a movie. I would love this to be like my Christmas movie. And I wanna watch this at Christmas time, drinking like hot chocolate. Because I love to spend my Christmas is where it's cold, like drinking hot chocolate and just eating my way through like all the big goods that man could have. And that's when I knew that this has to be a Christmas type episode book. So it's a cozy sapphic fantasy set in the world of like, of magic and queens and queendoms and things like that. It's very like the whole series. It's literally about there's Reina, the Queen's Guard, and Kira, who's this powerful magician, and they bounded the life of royal court, and they are trying to set up shop in this town where the people of this town are just like, why are you even here? And mind you, this town, they chose it because it's kind of borders the queendom and like this other place that's not part of the queendom. So it's like, where can we go without, feeling without the queen coming after us? So they're also trying to make sure that they don't get pulled back into royal life. So the small town of Tawny, and the world just will not let them rest. Like our characters, the world will not let them rest. There's a rebellion that's brewing. There's monsters. The dragons are upset because the dragon eggs were stolen. And now it is up to Kira, who's like she's like the age of mages, as I said. It's up to her to go figure out how to find the dragon eggs, and so that the dragons stop attacking this town, because the dragons just straight be burning up the town because someone stole their eggs. And I think that if I think about the way that our characters handle conflict, this is a cozy fantasy. Those of you that have never read cozy fantasy before, the stakes are high, but they're not high enough that we are worried too much. That's the point of these books. Like, yes, the stakes are high-ish, so they're medium stakes. These are medium stake books. The things are bad, but we know our characters can fix them. And even if they don't fix them, we're not gonna be super heartbroken because no one's gonna die, right? That's the way it's supposed to be. They're meant to be books that comfort you, and books that just makes you feel good and all gooey inside, and things like that. So Raina's relationship, like the way it gets established, is like, are they gonna make it through all of these things that are happening around them? So the first book, we really get to set up their lives, where it's about them trying to fit into this town, trying to fit in with the people of this town, seeing if they can actually do this thing of existing together. Because so far their relationship, both of them, has been stolen moments during banquets, and trying to like days where they kind of steal away from the castle and things like that. So now they finally are getting to live life properly. So both of them with their bookshop, which is called New Leaves and Tome. New Leaves for the tea, tomes for the books. And then we have like as the book kind of progresses, we see more things get added. We see more mystery. So at the crux of all of this, three things are happening, or three things are at the rock bed of all the stories, right? The missing dragon eggs. So the missing dragon eggs are a big part of this story, because they need to keep peace with the dragon. The dragons have like this, obviously they're dragons. They have ancient magic and they're humongous, and people are terrified of them naturally, right? So Reina and Kira are trying to figure out the dragon egg situation. So they're looking for the dragon eggs. Then there is the constant threat of the queen, who Reina is a queen's god too, still there's the constant threat of that queen who is a vicious and ruthless queen coming and disrupting their lives. So right now, the way in book one, the way they kind of she's allowed them to have this life is by Reina pretty much saying, well, I'm befriending the Age of Mages so that we can have her as an ally for the court, pretty much, which is a lie, and which the whole town has graciously agreed to go by, right? So that's the thing two that's happening here. And then thing three is their actual relationship, is how their relationship is evolving and existing in this world and this new life that they're building together. And in each book, we touch a little bit on one of these three things, but the constant one is their relationship is obviously a big one that we constantly are dealing with in the book. In book one, we focused heavily on the queen and the repercussions of their decision with the queen. In book two, we and also in book one and book two, we do a lot more on the search for the eggs, for the dragon eggs, and finding the dragon eggs and getting some of the dragon eggs. So not all the dragon eggs get recovered, and that is continuing to be a part of the book. At TU at the Altar, book three, this really, really brings back the threat of the queen. And now we're at book three, they really kind of are focusing heavily on this idea of treason that began in book one, because now they're plotting against the queen. And they're plotting with, so it's like this small town of like ragtalions who are ragscallions. Is this ragscallions? I think that's the word. That they're plotting against this queen, and they're trying to find a new queen because this queen is killing people. She's breaking the law. She's a dictatorship, and they're trying. Hello, world of politics 2025, where the dictators live. So they're trying to get this queen out of power, and they're using their wedding. Actually, spoiler alert: they get married. Like, I mean, guys, it's a cozy fantasy. Even if you have spoilers, it's still fun to read. So you'll be fine. So they use their wedding as the crux of this. And in book four, their life has really, really changed. Like, both of them have this insane jobs now that they have to keep, and now lives are in danger. And it's the dragons' lives are at stake. So the final dragon egg is so critical to the story, and the dragon's magic also becomes like an integral part of the storytelling. And they have this the magicry has the stone called the Stone of Seeing, which the Age of Mages, that's where all their power comes from. And whenever the Age of Mages is around, the power gets amplified and things like that. And or the Mage of Ages, sorry, the Mage of Ages. And it's so cute, like all these things they're doing. And there's also the creatures, like the magical creatures in it are so fun, like the griffins that the mages ride, and the fact that we also look at the adolescent life of a young griffin and a young dragon. Like, what do teenage dragons and teenage griffins, how do they behave? How do they exist? And now this town of Thorne, that was like this quiet, sleepy, snowy town with like insane winters that is hard to survive, has become a tourist attraction all of a sudden because of these two people. And New Leaves and Tomes is threatening to close down because they can't put the town in much danger. It is so sweet, guys. It is the sweetest book. I mean, I think every time I would pick up a new version, a new like installment of these books, I will just settle in for the best time. One thing I will say, I always made sure to read these books when I was home, or I was somewhere I considered a second home. I didn't like reading them when I was on the road too much, simply because they're such comfort reads. Like, when you have a comfort read or comfort TV show that you watch, and you can only watch it in your own house, in your bedroom or in your lounge, eating your favorite food or drinking your favorite beverage. Like, it's one of those where I would only feel good if I was sitting in my book nook in my house, reading them with a cup of tea next to me. If I felt the book resonated more when I did that. And I'm not gonna lie, a part of me is kind of sad that there are no more books in the series. I'm really hoping that Rebecca Thorne, like, I don't know, does a spin-off of some of the characters. Because I know the epilogue for the last book has like a kind of like it's like a 10 years later type thing, and it focuses on one of the other characters. I'm hoping maybe she spins off that character into another lovely series that I can just also enjoy. But a part of me also don't want her to do it. I know, right? Like, readers, you just can't win with readers. I'm sorry, authors, you really can't win with us because we want to live in these worlds forever, but we also don't want you to taint them by over exposing them to so much. But yeah, wait, I'm waxing lyrical. Let me talk to you guys a bit more about some of the themes and the things I loved about it. So okay, so like I said, by book three, the shop is more than a setting. It literally is like its own character. They are brimming with business. The weather is so interesting. Like I love the whole idea of event planning for this wedding. How the whole town is up in arms about planning this wedding of theirs in book three. But it's like the villain, like the idea of like villainy in this book. By the time we get to book three, it's not as obvious. It's more like it's like pressure is the villain, not the actual like physical villain you can see. So I quite like that. The side characters really make the books come to life as well. So the way the regulars that arrive at the bookshop, their neighbors, the teenager who literally finds like their first favorite author, or like the one lady who's like a midwife slash doctor who's trying to become a medical doctor, and the one parent who really hated the fact that there was something opening next door, but now really loved this bookstore. So those people become so interested and integral to their story. Their drinking buddies, the other like noble people in the town who they get to kind of interact with, and how they interact with them, they become so integral to the way it is. And one of the things, I have this test for cozy fantasy, right? It's like almost like what is the temperature for the tension in the story, so and is there texture in the dialogue, like does the dialogue feel tangible to you, are there bits of humor? And one of the things, like Kira, the mage here, she is so obsessed with puns. Like everything is a pun to her. Even in a situation where things are dire, she's finding ways to make a pun out of the situation, right? So those kind of little bits of humor that they bring in, and like the idea that you they talk about problems without humiliating characters or making characters the butt of a joke. I love that. And I also like the romance here is so adult. It is so adult. Like they talk about like schedules and budget. They make lists. They organize things like in between their I love yous. They're like organizing their lives. It's very, very adult and so mundane. I absolutely love that. And I also kind of think that, if you're new to like cozy fantasy, this is a good gateway, right? So you start with this series, and Legends and Latte, of course. Like, guys, read Legends and Latte. If you have not read Legends and Latte, please read Legends and Latte. So you start here. This is a really good gateway. It doesn't force you into its world. It creates it invites you into it, and it just shows you this beautiful way to exist. And I also like that when we get to that by books one and two, the dragons do have a presence for sure, but there's a lot more presence for the dragons in the last two books, and we also get to understand them a little bit more. They share things, because I mean the dragons are the oldest creatures in the story, so they know more about things. They remember more about things. I really like that. We get to see a little bit more insight into them, like we conversing with them a little bit more, and it's not just one person that's talking to the dragon now, so that I really also I really enjoy that. I like that each of the characters get to build out something unique for themselves, but the community still stays. So this idea of community is so prevalent in these books, and it's so strong with the way the characters are set out. Of the 4 books, like I've been trying to think which of the 4 books is my favorite. And it's so hard to pick, if I'm being honest. I think that book 1 is really strong. Like you can't spell trees without T. I think that's really, really strong. But the last book was such a good finish. Like the last book, Alchemy and a Cup of Tea, was such a good finish, and it gave us insight into the world as well. It gave us insight about magic. It gave us more insight about the dragons. We give us insight about our characters and who they are. So I think like book 1 and book 3, book 1 and book 4 are my strongest books of the series. If I'm being honest, those are my 2 strongest books of the series. If you've read the series, I would love to hear your thoughts. I think I'm gonna reread this. So usually at Christmas time, I reread a certain author that I wouldn't mention, and the last 4 years I've stopped rereading these books because this author got way problematic. So those are, some of you already know what I'm talking about. But I think this might be my new Christmas reread. So I'm gonna reread these for the Christmas period. These are such. They also, I know they look thick, but the way they're written, they're quick to read. They really are quick to read. So I'm gonna maybe start a tradition this year that these will be my Christmas read of the year. Yeah, I think I'm gonna start a new Christmas tradition that Teas and Tomes will be my Christmas read. What are you guys reading for Christmas? What do you like to do? What shows are you watching? I mean, obviously, I'm going to watch a ton of Hallmark stuff, and Netflix also has a ton of stuff. Actually, I have a calendar schedule of like the Hallmark, Netflix, and Prime Christmas movies that I'm going to watch. But also, I have a couple of books that I'm going to be reading during the holiday season. But I would love to hear what books you guys are reading during this holiday season. And Merry Christmas from everyone at the Book Corner, which is me, myself, and I, and the lovely team at Vodcast TV. So this podcast is recorded at the studios, Spotify studios, which are run by the team at Vodcast TV in Rosebank. And they're so amazing. Like, they literally, I was like, guys, I need to do a Christmas episode. And they're like, we have all the Christmas decorations from last year. And they came in and dressed up the set for me. So Marco and team, you guys are amazing. Thank you so much. And a Merry Christmas from all of us. And we out.